Hey guys, Sarah here at Chicken and Bulldogs Urban Farming. I live in Minnesota, just outside Minneapolis, and we have just gotten through our first cold snap of the season. Right now, it's a balmy 38. It's actually been pretty foggy today. A lot of this little dusting of snow that we got's been melting. But in the middle of this week, we really did hit some very frigid temperatures. Face hurting cold, hand hurting cold, that sort of thing. Ahead of that, last weekend when it was 45 degrees out, my husband and I thought we would just go up to a local hardware store, buy some plastic poly wrap or whatever, and we would go and partially close off part of the chicken run, just one short side and one long side, which we typically do every winter to cut down on the wind coming through the run and to keep the girls warm. Unfortunately, it didn't go as planned. We didn't buy what we thought we were going to get. Let's take a look at that footage. So I got my husband, Justin, here with me today as a helper, and also my son, Max. And we got a couple things in our hands. What do we have here for materials?
Just standard wood shim. These are absurdly long. They don't necessarily need to be this long. It's just what the local brick and mortar mom and pop hardware store had. Shop local. So yeah, we're just gonna use these. Before we've used a tack hammer and smashed the poly in with the tack hammer, and it worked, but it took like a bazillion staples to keep the poly attached without the wind blowing it off. A couple of years ago, I went into the garage to figure out what we could do to remedy or continuously improve that. And I had some shims, and we tacked the shims up there, and that gave it a bigger surface area, so the poly didn't rip out of the staples. So that's what we're gonna use now.
And Max has got the poly. Mm-hmm. All right. So we got to determine what sides of the chicken run that we were going to poly, and I was just thinking this side here and then the back side. I guess it probably would depend on where the wind comes from. We don't want to fully enclose it because, well, we want ventilation to get in. And we also want to be able to see inside from this side from our kitchen window so we can check to make sure the girls are okay and, that everything's working just fine out here. So we don't want to completely encase it in plastic. What are you thinking?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking start on the farthest side and then wrap it around to this here. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Let's get started. This one, buffalo.
Social creatures.
Is it food? Is it food?
Could be.
Is it food?
Could be.
Can you show her? Nope.
Do you need to inspect? Okay. So I'm hoping we don't have a problem. So yeah, I went cheap on it and got thin poly here, but this is like angel paper or tissue paper or whatever. I'm actually kind of worried that it isn't too light a weight.
Yeah, the wind I think is gonna poke a hole in that pretty easy.
That's what I'm starting to get worried about here, that we went. All right, stop. Oh boy. Oh, let's give her a shot and see how we do it. Definitely a 1 year, one and done.
Yeah, I'll be surprised to see if this lasts longer than a month with the wind that we get in the winter.
Oh boy.
The wood ain't good.
Well, crap. We got cheap shims and cheap plastic.
Yeah, it's all right. Let's keep moving our way down and before we cry foul, let's give her a college effort here.
Rolling.
So this all right. This is my pack of synthetic shims, so composite shims. So they're always going to be thick on one side, thin on the other. That's just what a shim is. You keep sticking them in there until you fill the gap with whatever you need. Generally, you go side by side, whatever, and then you just take them and you snap it off and you break off the rest. The problem with the composite shims on something like this, they're hard to staple. They just don't. I don't know if it's possible, but those are even fracturing. It's fine, but it's just more expensive. I think what we gotta do is get our chicken that flew over the fence, buffalo chicken, get her back. I think we're gonna need, thicker poly. This isn't gonna last. I think we're gonna have to take a mulligan on this project. Go back, get some, a 5 mil, I don't know, a thicker poly drop cloth and the shorter wood shims, and come back and do Rev 2.
Okay, so a week ago, we put up this plastic wrap. It was much thinner than we thought it was, and it's been really windy. In fact, this makes a really loud crinkly noise when the wind blows. It sets off our Bulldog. Let's see here, yeah. It's starting to get some holes in it. Overall, not too bad. Not the best either. But it's got to help with that wind in there. The wind is what makes the cold just worse. Here are the girls' statues. Sometimes they get like this when they think there's a predator around. They get very still. But hey, you guys look really good. Let me see your comb, Noodle. I'm worried about her comb. She's got the biggest comb out of all the girls.
Her name is Buff.
And you know what? Her comb looks pretty nice. There's a little bit of black on the tips there, but I mean, at some point you just can't help that. But otherwise, it looks really good. Pot Pie, you're looking good. Do we got Char in there?
Yep.
Hey, Char. You're looking good too. So overnight lows got to about -8 with wind chills of -20. Still, in my opinion, not cold enough that we would need to bring the girls inside. We had to once 3 years ago when the actual low got to -30 overnight, and the wind chill was supposed to be like -60. We did bring them in to the garage for the duration of that cold snap, but this one's not that bad. We get 1 or 2 of these a year in Minnesota. Inside the coop, there's no wind, it's dry, and we do have a plate heater inside there that warms the temp about 10 degrees over air temperature. So during those few days, the girls are definitely spending a lot more time in their coop. Normally, they're just in their coop to sleep and lay eggs, but they were hanging out in there quite a bit, trying to get next to that plate heater and try to get warm. But it looks like they fared very well. Got my daughter here refilling the chicken's feeder. They need a lot. They go through a lot of food when it's cold out. What?
They need water.
They need water?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, chickens definitely eat a lot more food when it's cold out. It definitely keeps them warm. Speaking of, do we have any like corn or scratch we can give them?
Yeah.
They could probably use some of that right now.
Sometimes in those cold weathers, chickens, their bones are hollow, unlike ours. Like, they can freeze and fall off, and then you just have to put the chicken down.
Yeah, you don't want to have to do that if you don't have to. We're supposed to get another cold snap this week, although it's not supposed to be as bad. Eventually, I would like to replace that plastic wrap. It's just a big rush with the holidays right now and a million other excuses. Hey, ladies. Ever see chickens play the drums? That'll be for later. You can dig through that. Okay. All right, it is getting dark very rapidly here. I'm gonna head back in. I've got a bulldog I gotta walk before it's completely dark out. She's bouncing off the walls. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe because there's always something going on or going wrong at my house. Happy holidays, guys.